Publisher of Ask Questions Later on Substack. He's also the former AP chief in Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, knows the region or regions as well as anybody. I want to go through all of this. We'll talk about Ukraine, certainly, which Libby was reporting on. Let me start with Iran, because you think about it, the president is taking on a lot of big issues at once, those two, Gaza and his trip to the Middle East. On the tablet, we have what an Iranian official says is the proposed deal, that they won't make nuclear weapons, going left to right on the screen, get rid of the stockpiles of enriched uranium, lower uranium levels for civilian use, let the inspectors supervise the process, and in turn economic sanctions would be lifted. What would you say about this and the odds that maybe it will get done? Trump saying it's pretty close.
It looks to me very much like a resurrection of the JCPOA signed by Barack Obama in 2015. The criticism of that agreement was basically that the verification wasn't serious enough, and also that it allowed Iran to benefit from an easing of sanctions, and that money went to its proxy terrorist militias around the region. So the idea was that Iran is being allowed to interfere with Lebanon and Syria and Yemen and Israel through this proxy militia project, and therefore is a bad deal. From everything I have seen about this seems the case. In other words, it would again hand over its enriched material, not enrich at a high level any new material, and agree to verification. That was already the case in the agreement that Trump abandoned in 2018, which abandonment has enabled Iran to become a nuclear threshold state as we speak. So, I mean, I think Trump made a mistake in 2018, and he appears to be about to correct it now.
So the argument, I guess, from their side would be, hey, we'll have better enforcement this time. We won't allow the money to be misused or that kind of thing. But other than that, you think it's very, very similar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I'm a little bit disappointed that given Trump's previous position, he isn't that Iran ceased to attempt to assist Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis and the Shia militias wreaking havoc in Iraq.
Right.
He could have done that, and he didn't, and I frankly don't know why. As I say, it's a resurrection of the previous deal, maybe with better verification, but I must note that the UN nuclear agency, the IAEA, as well as the Mossad and basically the CIA, had said in 2018 that Iran was standing by its commitments. In other words, the idea that the verification wasn't serious didn't really stand up under the scrutiny of major Western intelligence agencies.
What do you make of, as we shift to Ukraine for a moment, Putin not showing up and then what happens next? I'll pop up on the tablet here this kind of what both sides want. We know what Zelensky wants, to ceasefire immediately, get the Russians out and restore the borders. But Putin, you know, he sends the B team in, but he's always said things like are listed there, no NATO, Crimea, the Donbass regions, and what have you. But he sends the B team in. Trump's kind of hinting, well, you know what, maybe I'll go tomorrow if Putin goes. I mean, where do you think this stands, and what's the next move that would make sense?
Clearly, the talks in Turkey that Trump was touting during his visit to Riyadh just 2 days ago appear to have become a fizzle, if not even a farce, with mutual accusations of clownishness and Zelensky on the ground already, and then sending in his own B team or C team. Clearly, it doesn't seem likely that something will happen this week. But you know, Zelensky can't continue this war forever without American assistance. So it largely comes down to Trump. If Trump doesn't allow Zelensky to fight forever, and it appears to be very much the case that Trump wants the war over, what it's looking like to me is a situation where the U.S. will strong-arm Ukraine into handing over about 20% of its territory, and Russia will get basically to benefit from its own aggression. And that is something that many people had considered to be very dangerous, because if you whet the appetite of a bully, if you allow them to take territory after a war of aggression that they began, well, he might attack some other country next. And, you know, there's a lot of concern about the Baltics in particular.
Yeah.
That is where things appear to be headed, however.
We saw the Europeans trying to put pressure on Trump to, up the game with the sanctions, but we'll see. Dan, good to talk to you as always. Dan Perry.